This is the WWE NXT May 27, 2025 full show results video, and the show started with a match between All Ego Ethan Page vs Ricky Saints for the NXT North American Championship. We see Ethan Page hits an ace crusher that puts Ricky Saints throat first into an open chair. In the end, All Ego Ethan Page hits Twisted Grin finisher, won the match, and become the new NXT North American Champion. Fatal Influence are interviewed backstage and they bicker about who should have the title match tonight, but Jacy pledges to win it and tells her it's fine if she's in her corner or not tonight. Back from the commercial, Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura are in the locker room talking about Inamura's return and Josh's gratitude that he came back and how happy he is. Inamura says he couldn't leave with stuff left to do, like winning the tag titles and even bigger aspirations that he leaves unnamed. The next match happened between Mike Santana vs Tavion Heights, and the result of this match was Mike Santana defeated Tavion Heights by pinfall with a discus lariat. Andre Chase warns the new Chase U against being overzealous and getting themselves in over their heads, and they immediately misread him as telling them to take more risks and flag Ava Rain down to ask for a match next week. She says she has a spot open next week, so they'll be wrestling Dark State. They point out there's only 2 of them and 4 of Dark State, but she points out there's 3 of them and says it'll be a trios match. They turn to Chase and say at least they're gonna get to team up, and Andre blows up, telling them that they're not a team. Tony D'Angelo confronts Luca Cruzifino about him doing nothing at Battleground. Luca swears he was shocked and couldn't move and says he didn't want to reach out and put everyone at risk. Tony says it doesn't smell right, Cruzifino says Adriana Rizzo's phone is disconnected and makes excuses, and D'Angelo says he doesn't know who to trust and Lucas says he can trust him, and we cut away. Back from the commercial, Trick Williams makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says people like Kurt Angle, Drew McIntyre, Bully Ray, and AJ Styles wore this title with pride, but none of them can compare to Trick Williams, especially not Joe Hendry. He's turning his back on the people because they turned their back on him. He's going back to TNA and he's talking to management, and we're gonna make some changes, starting with the name, which is now Trick NA. Mike Santana interrupts Trick Williams, and Williams says he's making a mistake by interrupting his champion, and Santana says he's not his champion and he's making a mistake coming out here and tearing TNA down first thing, and the last thing he's gonna do is sit back and watch him come out and tear the place down after what he and the rest of the TNA locker room have done to build the place. Trick says clearly he doesn't know how things go because he's never been world champion, and says the champion and only the champion calls the shots. He's a pretend fighter, a pretend rapper, with those high heels and tight pants, and now he's a pretend-ass champion, but Santana is the illest and realest he's ever come across, and he's gonna be the one to take the TNA World Championship from him. TNA Director of Authority Santino Marella appears on the Tron and he congratulates Trick and informs him he will be a fighting champion, and next week on NXT he's going to defend the title against Mike Santana. Santana pops him one and sends him flying out of the ring before grabbing the title belt and holding it up. Ava Rain rolls up on Stephanie Vacker to tell her she needs to find a tag team partner against Chick Tormenta and Dallas. Vacker says she wants to defend her title first, but fortunately Lola Vice slides in and says she'll be her tag partner for LA, and everybody is okay with it. The next match happened between Jada Parker vs Tatum Paxley, and the result of this match was Jada Parker defeated Tatum Paxley when Parker throws one of Tatum's dolls in the ring and she gets distracted, and Parker delivered a hip attack and gets the pinfall victory. Post-match, Thea Hale hits the ring and beats Parker down, Tatum got a friend and Jada runs away. The next match happened between Dante Chen vs Jasper Troy, and the result of this match was Jasper Troy won the match by pinfall with a black hole slam. Post-match, Obafemi makes his entrance to call Troy out from the balcony and says he's very impressed and he's showing Jasper the respect he didn't show last week by refusing to jump him in the ring and drop him like a thief, but he hopes he's enjoyed his 5 seconds of fame because now he's got the ruler's attention and his 5 seconds are over. Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne are hanging out backstage when Charlie Dempsey rolls up with Ren Sinclair. Dempsey says they've both had good showings recently but they've failed, so it's time to refocus. Bourne says he's not going backwards, they bicker, and Miles challenges him to a match where if he wins, Dempsey lets him go. Charlie takes him up on the offer on the condition that it's a rounds match, and they shake on it. Back from commercial, All Ego Ethan Page is in the ring and says he's not waiting for his title celebration, he's celebrating right now. J. Yvonne Evans interrupts him, and says last week All Ego cost him his match and so he went to Ava and got himself a title match at Worlds Collide. Page says Evans doesn't deserve a match, they go back and forth and somehow J. Yvonne introduces Laredo Kid. He introduces himself and says he's coming for the North American Championship. All Ego's not having a triple threat either, and Evans says oh no, he forgot, there's one more person in the match, and it's Rey Fenix. Phoenix says everyone's told him about the spirit of NXT and Ethan just won the title, but it's a shame he's gonna lose it at Worlds Collide in this four-way, and he's gonna bring the fire and he's gonna burn all Ego up. In Ava's office, Stevie Turner objects to Shawn Legacy being out of the picture after his big win, and Rain says she wanted to make sure they had NXT, AAA, and main roster talent in the match at Worlds Collide, and Legacy will get his one-on-one shot soon enough. They talk about the four-way to crown an Evolve Women's Championship. Back from the commercial, Tatum Paxley is walking backstage when she runs into Sol Ruca and Zarya. Zarya says they hate to see her like that, and they can vouch that the friend you never knew you needed is more important than you could think, and if she needs to talk, they're there. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Jacy Jayne versus Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship. We see Dallas and Chick Tormenta run in, Lola Vice neutralizes them, and referees swarm to break it up. In the end, Stephanie hits suplex, follows it with Devil's Kiss in the corner, cross armbar in the ropes, Henley breaks it up with a feint kick around the post, and Jacy lands a rolling elbow, and the result of this match was Jacy Jayne won the match by pinfall, become the new NXT Women's Championship. We get a lot of shots of stunned fans in the crowd, and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's NXT show? Tell me in the comments, and thanks for watching.